Yeah, I'm going to go back in time a little bit because I got an old question that some people were wondering. Back in the day, early last year, the summer last year, Married with Crypto had paid for the L Bank listing and then had threw another $10,000 to another listing. Was he ever paid back for that?
No, we used all the money that he gave us for the listing. Why would we be paying back?
Because there was an agreement for an AWRT listing on saitamask.
No, there wasn't.
That's what we were told. That's what I'm asking you to clear it up.
There was never. We talked to the AWR team about the listing, but that was as far as it got. There was no agreement. Come to light yet.
Okay.
In regards to that, such as the UAE investors, the Blazefire Gaming, the big pharma. I mean, can we elaborate on this? Because those are all claims that you've had in the past that we've seen or heard little about over the past few months.
Okay, so Big Pharma was tied directly to Lilly. Lilly obviously is no longer a part of our.
I would also argue that they're not necessarily Big Pharma either.
Well, neither are we, but we take the information that we're given, right?
Sure.
And then we can utilize, and that's what we were told, and that's what we were operating under the assumption.
Specifically have put out like the Visa partnership. I have a list of things that you had mentioned over the past months, and we can start off with, whatever happened to that Visa partnership, and how is it supposed to be implemented? Was it only for saitamask in regards to adding the API or a third-party payment integration, or how is this Visa partnership, aside from bringing money into saitamask as a payment, how is that going to be integrated with Saitama and saitamask?
Yeah, I mean, so that's directly in saitamask as we implement end of Q2, Q3, whatever we have on our roadmap.
And that was
for
basically the
card
Visa
to crypto
payment
payment system. Yeah. So nobody partners directly with Visa, right? Unless maybe like the Dallas Cowboys. But we have, we'll implement the Visa MasterCard structured payment system through our API on our saitamask platform.
Were these people that Max knew, that he had worked with in the past, or how did you come about these additional engineers that you brought in to help with the app?
Yeah, so I mean, so those that don't know, Max actually owns his own software company.
Right.
He's been in the business for a couple of decades, right? He has a point of sale software company. He knows code. He so these people that he brought in are people that he's worked with in some capacity over the last however many years, trusts them, knows their capabilities, and brought them on as almost a subcontractor, almost say, hey, we're going to pay you X amount of money, almost like salary to help us build this as a contractor would, but directly on.
CMC. Come on, we CMC. What y'all waiting on, man?
Right. Wasting our time.
Saitama. Join the wolf pack. What you waiting on? Yeah, anyway, man. So what's going on with somebody was asking, where's that question at? I saw it. Where is that question? What is this about Dubai rumors? What's that?
Yeah, so we have some Zoom calls and some interest people, in UAE and some other, representatives over there that are looking to get involved in cryptocurrency. I had a few calls, some Zooms, just doing what I do, right, which is explain what Saitama is, how it's going to kind of change the space, what we're looking for, what our vision is. And, people will usually have a lot of money that wants to get heavily involved. They're not talking about putting $100 in, $200. They want to get invested, long-term potential, right? Because money makes money, right? People that have money didn't get there by accident. It's by creating partnerships, investing in solid projects. So there's been several talks, communications with some people that have some pretty deep wallets, and these conversations will continue today and tomorrow, until we're at a point where they feel comfortable enough to go ahead and pull the trigger on that. And I would be remiss to say that some of those triggers probably haven't been pulled or are in the process of getting that hammer back. So yeah, there's going to be an influx of money, but we don't even need to, delegate that to one group or demographic. There's people with money that want to get involved in Saitama because of what we're doing and what we're doing with the space.
10% that you're referring to, that the front end bots are getting and draining liquidity, have you guys made any headway on fixing that situation?
Yeah. So Maxim, I think they have it pretty much resolved, and we're not going to come out and give you guys exact dates, but from what I understand from these guys is they pretty much put all the mitigations in place to stop any of these bot features or drastically reduce that. I don't think we can 100% prevent any bots, but if we can get it down to like less than 1%, that's okay. I mean, there's always going to be a wormhole for them to get in, but we make it so difficult for them to, hopefully they'll just go away. Right. But they've already kind of implemented that correction and optimized the platform. So now they're testing it, and we should have that swap function ready to go here real soon.
Sure. So in regards to that, you had mentioned a number of times that this is a in-house built app. Obviously, with the release from Steve, that he implied that was not the case. Can you please once and for all clear the air on who really built the framework for the application?
Yeah, we did. We built
100%.
100%. Our team of engineers built it. I mean, we brought in engineers to help. Like, obviously, Max is only one guy. Right. If he was to code it and create it all by himself on the nights and weekends, it would take 6 years. So we brought in a couple engineers to work directly underneath him to help assist in creating the swap and create the wallet and coding it and all that stuff directly under his supervision and part of our engineering team. But we did not, by any chance, outsource to a third. And to answer your question about the RICO case, I knew that there was an ongoing civil suit, right, in the beginning. Well, not in the beginning. I would say probably a few months after we kind of had conversation, and I had brought it up to him, and he said that there was something with the mask. It was a civil suit, and I've been in business for a long time. I understand civil suits happen, right, especially in the medical industry. It is probably one of the most highest cases, in any industry, tenfold. Civil suits, civil cases, all the time, all over the medical industry. all these companies. The bigger you get, the more money you have, the more people want to take a piece of that. Everybody feels like they're entitled to something. So I kind of touched on it briefly with him. He said it's no big deal. I kind of had, our attorney briefly look at it, and he said it's just kind of one of those things that are ongoing. And just recently, I think it turned into a RICO case, which I wasn't aware, because I think it was only like a week ago or something like that. So it's kind of
partner rather than just saying, hey, we've got UAE investors looking at Saitama, or UAE partners looking into Saitama.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want it. None of this stuff is ink, so I won't give you too much detail. But there's a lot. Obviously, the UAE is big into oil and gas. We were looking at possibly doing some, training simulator stuff on the oil and gas side. There's a lot of other, opportunities in UAE as far as for, real estate, as we're getting to launch our, Saita Realty. There's so many different companies and collaborations in the UAE that operate specifically out of there that we can utilize and bring onto our platform and create actual joint ventures with. So as they become inked and contracts are signed, and we can make more formal announcements and things like that. There's just a ton of opportunities. And you could actually venture to say that with any company, not just UAE, but any of the many companies and different organizations I speak with every day. They want to know about crypto. They want to introduce their company to blockchain development. They just don't know how. So they say, okay, you guys know what you're doing. We know what we're doing. How do